All right, welcome to the Good Rookies podcast. My name is Faheem.
And my name is Nelly J, and we are Good Rookies.
That's right.
Yo, everyone, happy holiday, happy day, happy October. This is episode number 8, y'all. We are trudging along the lane, and we are so excited because our guests today are not only are they smart, they're also funny, but also they're gonna drop a lot of good insight on the topics we have aligned for y'all today. So please introduce our amazing guest, Faheem.
Nice. So first of all, we're blessed today to have from Locker Room Talk podcast. We have Andrew Miller.
Andrew.
Hey guys, hey, thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Nice. And second, we have his other partner on the podcast, in which we have Warren Ward.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me, man. Really appreciate it.
Nice.
So guys, what's your background? Let the folks know about, what you've been working on in the past, what you're up to now. So we'll go with Andrew first.
Well, I always say I kind of live under the creator sort of title, but I have a communications background. I love activism and helping members of the community. My brother and I have a charity non-for-profit in Scarborough called the One More Wear Foundation, where we do programming on body image, resume building, self-esteem. But when I'm not doing that stuff, I enjoy, sneakers, sports, snacks, and all things reality TV. Of course, you mentioned that Warren and I have a basketball podcast, formerly basketball podcast, called Locker Room Talk. But I also I did a reality TV podcast as well. I was on Big Brother Canada. Not important anymore, guys. A little old. It wasn't on very long, but happy to be here talking sports with you guys.
Awesome.
Nice.
How about Warren?
Tough act to follow up, Andrew. I don't know what to say.
Listen, guys, we should have introduced each other. Warren Ward, Carleton U alumni.
Ottawa U.
Ottawa U's my bad. Ottawa, he's known all over the world by guys, but international hooper, media personality, model. Now, Warren, is that true?
I saw him on the runway. Oh, snap!
Yeah, no, I'd like to wear a multitude of hats. I try to seize the day, as much as I can. Pro athlete for 6 years. I retired in 2018, and then I broke into the media space. So I was an analyst for the Raptors 905. And I've tried to work my way within that industry. And I'm doing the same thing now, but more so on my own. I've been blessed enough to interview people like Trix in the last couple of weeks. I've also done this segment with the top Canadian volleyball players. So that will all soon to be coming out in the next few months. And that's what I've been keeping busy with.
Nice.
That's awesome. So we like to ask our guests a couple questions to give our viewers some insight into your passion, your love of sports. So the question today is this: what is your most memorable sporting experience? It could be someone you met, it could be an event or a game you played in. So let us know what that is. Andrew, what you got for me?
I will say I was very fortunate in 2016 to work with the NBA behind the scenes in production. I worked for the All-Star Weekend, 2 weeks, best 2 weeks of my life. I ended up taking my vacation from my communications job to go work with the NBA, and just simple production assistant stuff, like running around, grabbing stuff, getting food and stuff. But I will tell you this. The perks of having a pass to be behind the scenes for All-Star Weekend was, by far one of the greatest experiences. I every night, like All-Star Week. I don't know about you guys, but All-Star Weekend for me is like a religious holiday. Like I take it seriously. I have people over. There's food and everything regularly. So when it's in Toronto and it's like in my home city, and I have an opportunity to do the work and be a part of it behind the scenes, I swear I didn't sleep for those 2 weeks. And it was, I met some wonderful people. I got to meet Craig Sager in an elevator before his passing, which was one of those things that, I got to hang out with Shaq's kids, Sharif and Shafir, behind the scenes and talk shit to them. And just like a lot, I sat next to Yao Ming. I was courtside for the slam dunk competition, which some would say the best slam dunk competition in NBA history. Air
By
Gordon
far.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon
versus
should have won that,
Leonard.
man.
Zach
Uh,
Levine. Yeah, by far. I was there too. That was amazing, man. Amazing slam
That
dunk
was,
competition.
it was back and forth, like every dunk.
You
So
think
just be part of that, I think, was one of those things. And just the All-Star Weekend in Toronto was for me like one of those things. And I guess I didn't really feel that again until the Raptors won this year. And I was fortunate enough to work with the NBA again for the finals. Ended up quitting a job to go work with the NBA for 2 weeks. Don't regret it at all. But we won the championship, and everything's history. Right?
Hey, exactly. How about you, Warren?
Okay, I have a couple, if that's okay.
That's
I don't
okay.
just have one. First and foremost, probably the best experience I had was playing for Canada. And going to China, we won a silver medal there. So that was a great experience for me to represent my country at the FISU Games. One of my goals going to university, was to make that team. So I was really, really blessed and happy to do so. Playing for Canada was great. I met Tracy McGrady, who was the reason why, I started playing basketball. So that was another huge moment for me. And he was kind enough to, ask me for the photo. I didn't even have to ask. So, I remember after that game, I sat down and I was almost brought to tears because I was like, that's someone that I grew up, like basically trying to be like, you know what I mean? So, and after I told him that, it was really cool to actually do that. So, and then finally, in 2013, which would be going through the draft process. So, I'm from a small place. Well, not a small place, but I'm from a place that's not, in Toronto per se. So for me to go through the draft process was unbelievable for me. So those three things.
Warren, you're being modest, Warren.
Yeah.
Warren
Okay,
has hit some killer game winners, Warren. Talk to those game winners, bro. Come on, man.
I'm looking at Faheem's face and he's looking all confused. So essentially, in 2013, I was the third Canadian ever to go from the league here, which was at the CIS, at the time, to the NBA draft. So I entered the draft at that time. So I went from the CIS second team All Canadian to a potential draft pick, and I worked out for a ton of teams. So that whole process, which at the time, like I said, I'm from a small place. So as much as people who watch me play would probably expect someone to dream of those things, for someone like me, it was never written. I just wanted to be a pro, and I'd have been happy with that. So for me to go through that process was just like the icing on the cake. So that's something I'll never forget.
Wow, guys, that's
Warren's also been on billboards, Bell Canada,
plastered model here.
Warren is very humble. I feel like I gotta talk for my guy.
We got time today. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you guys for those special experiences. Honestly, like I'm taken back, and we're so honored to have you guys on the episode today. So Faheem, let's get this rocking and rolling.
So let's start first with zoned in, zoned out. Okay, so first Cam Newton, COVID, the NFL, COVID.
The way you're saying that is killing me.
I can't.
That should be like a commercial. COVID.
So feedback. I mean, Nelly J, I'll let you go first because I know you got a lot in the holster for this one.
Honestly, Cam was doing so well with the Pats. I'm kind of disappointed that this has hit him because he's been through a lot. When he was released and then no one wanted him, Bill Belichick took a chance and said, you know what, Cam, I see potential. I can kind of nurture your talent. He was so excited. He was on a revenge. Like, how LeBron has a revenge tour this year. He had a revenge tour for the NFL, for all the players for all the team that denied him. And then boom, COVID in terms of, but no, and honestly, even the game, like they're playing the Chiefs. So for me, I want to see how can the Patriots, what's the bit test, like the test for them to play the Chiefs, Mahomes, the hottest guy on the block, right? And so I wanted to see that game this weekend. It was unfortunate they got positive, but guess what? I'm happy. No one got tested. But today it came out that the reigning defensive player, Stephen Gilmore, got positive as well. Right. And if you saw, so Stephen Gilmore, I guess after the game, he was up in Mahomes' face, like up in his grill. So I'm like, hold up. So if Mahomes gets positive tested for COVID, the whole league will be annoying because Mahomes is like the hottest guy. So I'm hoping that Mahomes doesn't catch it. But if Gilmore has positive now, it's like, are we going to start this whole COVID vendetta of players getting hit? I don't know, but it just sucks, man, because I really wanted Cam to go ham this year. Yeah.
Cam is kind of like the Rudy Gobert of the NFL. You know what I mean? Like he's the first guy, to come out with COVID. And
right.
And you're right, Nelly. It sucks. Like everyone was rooting for Cam. You know what I mean? New chance, new drip, ready to go tear things up in New England, and then COVID. So it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? It kind of does suck, but. What can we talk about the comparisons with the NFL and the White House? Like there's just like willy-nilly just coming and going, not social distancing, mask, whatever. Like it's only a matter of time until it's I think gonna shut everything down. No?
Yeah.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I know I love NFL and sports back too, but like I just think there's got to be a bit more accountability. And I don't know if Cam is the guy to blame, but it is what it is, right?
No, so these players, they're unlike, say, the NBA or the NHL. They're not in a bubble situation. Like they're going home. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it so much easier and understandable if some NFL player gets COVID, right? But they have so much players on their roster. It's so hard to contain, right?
Plus Cam is also a very popular guy. I don't know if you guys take it like he seems to be the type of I don't want to judge my brother, but my brother likes to get dressed up. And them brothers that like to get dressed up, you know what they like to do? They want to show out the outfit so everyone knows where they got it. So I get like he wants to walk the runway. Warren, you like to walk the runway, Warren.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it. I knew you were going to bring it to me as I was here minding my business. I knew he was going to do that.
Warren likes to walk around like Cam, have his ankles exposed a bit too much. You know what I mean?
I mean, look, the Patriots are, 2-2. They had 2 losses, one to Seattle, which was a great team. Another one to Kansas City. Other than that, they've come out, what I'm saying, like they come with some wins. And I think Cam is probably the most disrespected NFL player. Like he's a former, MVP of that league, and he had some dominant seasons. And for them to give him the money that they gave him, and like he said, and I don't mean to say this, but there are a lot of white quarterbacks that have gotten bigger chunks of change that haven't had the resume that he's had.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you go to New England, is in Boston. Boston's known to have a ton of racist people.
He got it.
You go there, and I haven't read one report that said Cam Newton is not the first person there at practice, the last person to leave. He studies the playbook the entire plane trip. He's studying the offense, defense. He is their hardest working player, and yet has the least. And that seems to be the theme of 2020, even with COVID, that our people are kind of getting the least hand going on right now. So COVID or not, I'm not a Patriots fan at all. I don't like Bill Belichick. I never did. But this year I am rooting for them, and I am rooting for him. I want him to do well. It sucks that he got COVID, but anyone could catch that. COVID has absolutely no jurisdiction. COVID's on Jupiter right now. It can go anywhere it wants to go. So
COVID don't care about your job, about
it don't care. It doesn't care. COVID don't give a crap about nothing. So I wish him, a speedy recovery, but I think in his situation, he should be he deserves whatever success and whatever blessings, come his way after this. 100%.
Yeah. And keep in mind, COVID was a 14-day turnaround, so he'll miss 2 weeks. He'll miss two games in the NFL, right? So 2 games isn't really a big deal because the NFL season is a long season. But my prediction for this year was that the NFL will do what NFL does, they're going to have games. So if half their roster gets sick, they're going to recruit more people. They do not care if you're positive or not. Like they're going to commit to contracts. So this is their Survivor League. You know, Survivor Island. That's the NFL this year. So if you get positive, all right, come back in 2 weeks. Who's next? Like they ain't got time for that. So the NFL will continue. And like you said before, I'm not a Pats fan, but I do respect Bill, because Bill, what he's done with defenses, like he's like a chess player, like a chess coach. Like he will play the clock, he'll play your offense against you. Like he's very smart and strategic in every game he plays. So I respect him as a coach. But you're right, I really want Cam to do well this year. Either way, I feel like this year we got amazing black QBs. We got Mahomes, we got Russ, right? We got a boy from the Ravens. We have a lot of black QBs that are going off. And compared to like a decade ago, we had like what, Michael Vick and McNabb, right? That's it. So there's so much more black QBs coming up, and I think it's amazing. Dak Prescott today more. So I feel the NFL having more black QBs, hope we get more black coaches. But yeah, like I'm hoping Cam gets back in the game, man, because I really want him to go off on everybody.
It's crazy when you talk about black quarterbacks. Like I think back to like, you know, Warren Moon,
Right.
Of course, Randall.
That's where I got my name from.
Oh, word, eh?
For real?
Yeah. No, that's my dad's favorite athlete of all time, because they wouldn't let him play in the NFL. He had to come here to Canada, break all the records, you know what I mean, out there in Edmonton. And then they finally let him back in the NFL when he was over the age of, you know, normal, you know, like, and I find that to be such a disservice to him, because like the man, I think he won the Heisman, or if not the Heisman, he won the Rose Bowl, 100%. I know that for a fact. So you win all those awards and then you still don't get to play in the NFL just because it, at the time, as my dad always says, it was a thinking man's position and we could only run and catch the ball. We couldn't think.
Yeah.
So, that's where I got my name from.
That's wild, man. No, like it's so disrespectful that, you know, even that these I guess their position, they're all the same, right, Warren? Like there's no more higher than other, right? Everyone, it's a team game, all same part. So like the thing that a position only reserved for, you know, the best or not even the best, like the brightest, I suppose, is stupid.
But I'm not surprised, man. We couldn't get water from the same tap, you know what I mean, 70 years ago. So I mean, to go ahead and play football is that's a blessing in itself.
Exactly.
Right?
So hopefully, I'm hoping in the future we're going to see a big shift, because we're seeing a lot more black youth playing quarterback or playing multiple positions, right? So I'm hoping, and also, I mean, we need more black coaches, more black owners before. So yeah. But
they don't have a choice right now, Nelly. They don't have a choice. Regardless of whatever sport it is, minorities are dominating the sport. They don't matter you could turn on cricket, you could turn on, the only thing they got is really hockey, to be honest. I mean, other than
that's shifting too, man.
But that might change.
Right.
They actually drafted a second draft pick, a black player from Sudbury. And he's the highest pick for a black player ever in the history of NHL.
Well,
that was yesterday. So imagine, there's a movement, man. There's a movement, like you said.
Can we talk about like should we not be playing football anymore, guys? Like what's going on with this youth football?
Which football?
Like not your fancy soccer, but like American football. I know there's a conversation about, you know, concussions and like shifting that, like, but it seems like youth football in America is still very much a thing.
Yeah, in America, especially Texas, like a few states are all football states. Like they don't care about basketball. They're football. Like if you go to a football game in Texas in high school, it's bigger than our university games in Canada. It's that massive. The following of football is insane in the States. Like it really is. It's huge. It's American sport. People
from the health perspective are, you know, not playing that as much because of what it does to your body and, you know, the training commitment involved and, you know, like just the difficulty of, you know, quote unquote, making it. Like if you're not in the NFL, there's no other pro league that's, you know, that enjoyable for, you know, anyone to go ahead and play in, right? Like it isn't like basketball where there's leagues all over the world. In the NFL, it's like, you know, you want to make it to the NFL or what? Nothing. That's it. You know what I mean? So
or CFL.
Or CFL, exactly. But even with that being said, the dream is to play there. So if you can't play there, it's very, very hard for someone to say, you know, I'm going to dedicate my life to this. So Until there is an alternative and another league for these guys to play in, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't that wouldn't be my first sport to go ahead and play for sure. And it's costly to, you know what I mean, to the American family. You know, it's not a cheap sport to play.
Yeah, NFL and NHL are both costly sports.
Yep. And
So,
I've been big my whole life, man. I'm not trying to get mashup, guys. Personally speaking, you know, and I think that bigger players always are some sort of a target on the field like that as well. So it's like you're kind of putting yourself in a position to either, you know, have a bad back for the rest of your life or bad knees or concussion. You know, but hey, that's just my opinion. You know, it's great fun on Super Bowl Sunday, guys. I love nachos and chili and all that stuff. But like me, I'm getting older now, a bit more gray in my beard. So now I'm like, okay, well, is this really the way we should be, you know, positioning our youth? And you know,
Yeah, I hear you.
let's transition.
I like seeing people get smashed in the face too, though. But.
Let's switch gears and let's transition to Canadian Black focused programming. Reason why I think it'd be relevant is Andrew, being from Big Brother Canada, you know, expertise in the area of media. So,
Sort of, I guess, you know.
So I want to start from an angle of this, since we're on sports. So with Canadian focused Black programming, we don't really have a lot of programs, or I even say like docs or movies or really anything toward, say, even Black sports movies or Black sports athletes or anything that has to do with the Black experience in regards to sports, right? Just want to get your feedback in regards to that and any direction you think that we might be going with that. Andrew, I'll go with you first.
Yeah, no, I saw an amazing documentary on Sportsnet last week on Donovan Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
Donovan Bailey, a Canadian world record holder, sprinter, icon. I did a story on him when I was writing a journalist background. I did a story on him for Sway Magazine. I got to go to his house. At the time he was living downtown, he had a whole, like a floor of an apartment building. Like literally, you go up in his place, open up Donovan's floor, bro. But neither here nor there. Shout out to my guy Donovan Bennett as well at Sportsnet, doing great Black Canadian coverage as well. We need more representation, guys, and it's not just people in front of the camera. We need people creating the content, producers, executives, people pitching these stories, because their stories are not being told. In that documentary with Donovan Bailey, by the way, Marcy Ian, also going to be running a member of parliament as well. She has some wonderful things talking about Donovan's story, the Jamaican Canadian story, his issues being Jamaican in Canada, where they wasn't fucking with him because he was too Jamaican. And as Jamaican, man, I know we're boisterous people. You know what I mean? We don't take kindly to disrespect. And if someone comes with disrespect, we are coming for them. And that's not very Canadian.
Yes.
And I think that was one of the things that I took away from that specific documentary, that like we need more stories like this so that these people in Alberta, you know, Nunavut, wherever they're watching that hockey game, if they're not, the game's not on, watch this stuff so you guys get cultured and understand the experience and what our athletes and our heroes have to go through in order to survive. Great documentary, guys. But that's few and far between. Not nearly enough representation. Warren and I have spoken on this topic numerous times. Warren, extremely outspoken on this topic. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let Warren get his shots up, because I know he got a lot to say on this one. Warren, also friends with Kayla Gray. Kayla Gray, broadcaster, been through the ringer lately.
Yeah, Kayla.
She has.
But now getting her flowers, Warren.
She is getting her flowers. She is.
Yeah, now, like I think recently, like ever since the boycott, I think the NBA, like when they walked out, I saw Kayla and a lot of these like hockey personalities asking, "Hey, Kayla, so what's your thoughts on the walkout?" I'm like, "Oh, so now you want to know how she feels? Now you want to know."
I'd like to add a couple things if I can. I'll say that first and foremost, I think if you want to have more representation in terms of media content, then those who control the content need to be of the same hue. I'll say that. And right now we don't have that. and we are just placeholders. They'll let one person in the door, but there is no real diversity. And it's such a sad thing, because Toronto prides itself on being this inclusive, like multicultural city. And yes, there are a lot of people that live here, but the people that control and make decisions here are all the same.
Yeah.
And especially in the field of media. So, and that just goes into media and entertainment. There isn't a lot of producers. And if you're going to talk about expertise in a sport per se, such as basketball, then I don't feel as though, and this is just, I guess my personal opinion, I don't think I should be subject to look around in an office and see the people that are dictating and making decisions on who's going to be, on TV tonight, who's going to be, giving the public their opinion and their, expertise on a subject they haven't done, or competed in. So it's literally friends or white people essentially putting other white people in positions of power. And unfortunately, it's affecting the content of media. We don't have a lot of content that Americans do. And I mean, America is, as backward as they are, they're way more progressive when it comes to, entertainment. I mean, they have special networks and special, even Tricks, they, like Tricks said, he's a placeholder in comedy here. Tricks, that's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
One of the funniest people across this whole country he's a quota filler in Canada.
Right.
He's not a front pager. He's not a frontliner. He's a quota filler. That is unacceptable in my opinion. And that goes across any field, not just sports and entertainment. So, I mean, with that being said, we need to develop our own, and people in positions of power need to fund these things so that we can now develop that. Because if we're going to be a diverse country, right, and that's accepting of everybody, then everyone needs a chance, to tell their story. Not just Black media, Asian media, Indian media, all different forms of media. It needs to be shown.
I want to hop in here. Sorry, Nelly, but I also wanted to shout out a few Canadian shows. Of course, Rock the Mic on the CBC, one of my favorite, hip hop. And that's ahead of its time, guys, if you look at what they were trying to do back then. But it's also been a long time since The Kink in My Hair, talking about, diversity and that on television as well. I don't think we have a show like that or like those anymore. So I think there's definitely a gap in the marketplace. Salute to Kim's Convenience, tearing it up. And they didn't want to even make that show, guys. They didn't want to have that show.
That show is so needed, and it's on Netflix. It's a big show. It's really popular in the States as well. It just shows that like we have so much talent, and it sucks because a lot of our talented actors that are Black or personalities, they all go to the States and they don't come back, right? They don't come back.
They have to though.
Because I totally understand that, but this is my issue with Black media in Canada. We don't have a Black billionaire in Canada yet. Who's their Black billionaire? We don't have one.
We do. Michael Lee Chin.
Yes.
Michael Lee Chin. Okay. So we have one.
Yeah, he's an outlier. No, I get what you're saying though. Yeah, totally.
Right. So this is the thing, right? We need to have our Black millionaires and the billionaires to put up to give us chances to say, hey guys, I'm a millionaire. I will invest in this show with you guys because I believe in this culture. I believe in this movement. We don't have anyone advocating for our movement. That's why we have so many Black podcasts like in Toronto that aren't on the main media, right? All my friends literally are watching podcasts over TV because it has Black Canadian content, people that they want to look at on their screen, right? So the issue is that we need more people in power that are Black in politics, in the cabinet. I know they have a Black diversity group within the federal government. People like that say, hey, we need to fill this gap because the stories of the Black experience, the stories of Black Lives Matter, the stories of activism is not on TV. So if you're mental, why is this Black Lives Matter going on? I don't get it. Of course you don't, because your TV doesn't show our story. So you'll never understand why we're upset. Oh, well, we're not America. Yeah, but Canada's pretty terrible too, my dear, right?
It is.
It's like we have to show the Black experience and what we're dealing with in our own country. But unfortunately, no one gets a chance to do that, right? So Just like, like Issa Rae. Issa Rae had no one trying to back her up. What'd she do? She went on YouTube, created her own show, and now HBO wants her, right? So I'm hoping any creator, if you're Black and you have a story, go on YouTube. Put it, like, don't let the media stop you. Keep pushing, because guess what? You never know who will see your show and who will put you on a platform for you to empower our people. So don't give up. I know it's challenging, but just don't give up. Like, just push through it. Like, real talk.
Well, I just want to add in that media's whole objective is to maintain that status quo, right? I mean,
exactly.
Like, why would they want to change it? That's why there is no Black, like any Black networks, that's why there is no Black, like there's no Black Canadian content, is because it's controlled by people who don't want that to be on TV, right? The Black story has been written for us, and that's literally anywhere around the world. Like, if you turn on the TV, if you see Black people on TV, we are literally entertainers, we are athletes, we are a bunch of other things. And if you turn on the TV for a white kid, and I always say this, if a white kid turns on the TV, he sees himself with limitless possibilities. He can identify with anything or anybody on television. Black kids, it's usually starting from the worst situation, and then a few of us make it to the top. That's like the Black story that media has portrayed, and it's usually done in a negative light. And if you look across any TV show, that's the reality. White kids and white people, it usually stems from something positive to an even bigger positive.
Yeah.
And I feel like our stories in TV need to represent that. Like, I know Black creators, I know Black photographers, I know Black scientists, I know one of my best friends is an entrepreneur who has literally started using hemp as a way to build homes. Why isn't there a story about that? That's amazing.
Of course.
But instead, when you see us on TV, you see us dribbling a ball, or you see us doing things that, yes, we dominate those things, but there's so much more. There's so much more to the story that a younger kid can look at and say, oh, I see myself in him. I can do that too.
Amazing points, all you. All I have to say is just to add to it. Race aside, I think in Canada, we have to do a better job of promoting our own. I'm not sure if anyone here actually watches Schitt's Creek. Anybody? Honestly, no.
No, I haven't. But I've heard about it.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, me and my wife, we got into watching 1-2 episodes, and we said, "Oh, this is funny." We finished the whole thing. Schitt's Creek. It went at the Emmys. Now I know we're in COVID right now, but it went to the Emmys, and it swept like all 7 categories for comedy, which is like unheard of. It's pretty historic, and to think it's such a rare feat to happen. You figure Canada and the Canadian media would like milk that situation to like lift them up and at least say, hey, but it's one of those things, something that just historic has happened, and they actually failed to really acknowledge and actually let people know about it, even if they watch the show or not, right? So I think as Canadians, we need to do better to promote our own, race aside.
Yeah, agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
So let's go to For the Culture.
Well, the culture. So guys, for the culture today, we want to talk about, I think, Masai Ujiri called it a movement. It is the Basketball Association League. The league was announced, I would say last year. And then, the dates and the prelim game started last year as well. However, it's partnered with the NBA and FIBA, wanted to create a continental professional basketball league. It will feature 12 different teams. Countries included will be like Angola, Egypt, Kenya, Morocco, Nigeria, Rwanda, Senegal, South Africa, and Tunisia. And what's really interesting was this, okay? The reason why they did this was pretty cool. The NBA found that in 2034, Africa will have the world's largest working age population of 1.1 billion. Okay, that's huge. They say that this project and consumers up in Africa will probably spend over 2 trillion by 2025. So the continent of Africa has so much opportunity financially. Resources, as you know, is unlimited. Africa is probably the largest continent in the world. And so the ecosystem for this entire project was due. You know, Mutombo talked about how, you know, he was in tears because he's always wanted the NBA in Africa. A lot of the kids out there, they see, you know, African players in the NBA, but don't know how to get there. You know, in football and soccer, you know, soccer is easier because, you know, they have their leagues in soccer in Africa. But now having an international, like a league, I think they're allowing about 6 players internationally to play in each team as well, which is a great opportunity for guys in Canada who don't want to play for the CBL, stuff like that, can now play in Africa, you never know, in that league too. So what's your thoughts on this entire project? You know, is it a good look? Do you support it? Where do you see this going? And any feedback you would want to give our viewers about your thoughts on this entire project?
Okay, so I just want to hop in real quick and just expand on this a bit. So the ABL, the African Basketball League, that before that was like the top tier.
Yes, for FIBA.
This is actually pretty much breaking. It was last year that they said they're going to start the BAL, which is an association with also with Jordan Brand also. So Jordan Brand
and Nike as well.
And Pepsi.
Right?
And Pepsi, yes.
Adam Silver's behind this also. So the NBA, this is like NBA. So outside of Canada, the United States, the NBA doesn't have actually a presence. There's been talk of possibly the NBA expanding to like Europe, etc. But
are they in China? Sorry, is the NBA part of China's league?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So, but with the BAL, what they're doing is expanding to have 12 teams with 2 conferences, right? And take it continental independently for each area to have their own team, which makes this like pretty groundbreaking because of the fact that, well, actually, before I get to that, I want to ask a quick question because how do I say this? Okay, watch this. I'm gonna ask each one real quick. Give me 3 African players that you can name off the top of your head. Andrew.
OG Anunoby, Serge Ibaka, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Very good.
You know what I mean?
Warren.
Pascal Siakam, Pops Mensah-Bonsu.
Nice.
Luol Deng.
Nice. Good job. There you go. Nelly J.
Those the one that named those 3. Mutombo, of course, the couple African players in the WNBA as well. So right. Yeah.
So I guess my point is, with all the players that we're mentioning, I noticed something that they're always front court players. Like I can't think of an African backcourt player, point guard or 2 guard.
Well, there's Moutier, but I guess American is Francis Moutier.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say he's
American. Yeah, even like Victor Oladipo, if you want to talk about his board, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess maybe the premise that I'm saying.
You mean like someone straight from there who comes to America? Yeah. No, all the guards have been like either developed in Europe or they've been developed in America. There's no real African guard.
Right.
Can I say that? I think I know where you're going with this.
Okay.
The stereotype amongst European players, Warren, is that some of them are a little soft. Some would say your boy Luka Doncic a little soft. And the narrative about my African brothers are warriors, tribesmen that are amazing big men, legendary bigs. No, you got Serge, you got Pascal. We owe Africa the Raptors owe Africa a championship ring at this point. No.
Well, Masai, Siakam, OG, OG didn't play, but Siakam.
We're gonna be going ahead, progress because we have made progress from think Manute Bol and Hakeem Olajuwon. You know what I'm saying? Where and it's been 30 years, and here we are. We have so much African players. But I think if I'm actually racked my brain this afternoon, can I think of a backcourt player, a point guard, 2 guard from Africa? And I can't. So in regards to spinning back to this league, the BAL. So it's obviously an opportunity for players there also, right? But Also, it's an opportunity for scouts to go there to look to see, well, who's going to, AAU or in the States, or who's going to, college in the States, et cetera, right? I'm just wondering if we may be caught in this stereotype of Africans can only be big, like, you know what I'm saying? We're not doing a good job of, I think, developing and nurturing. You might be in Africa right now, one of the African countries, and say be like 6'2" or 6'3", and maybe they might, I know they're saying you can't teach height. I get it. But I think we have to really focus on those 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" players to make sure that they have an opportunity to get to that next level to get in the game.
Yeah, but keep in mind, Faheem, I think players that height want to play soccer, football. Like, no offense, like I think. Well,
I think that's a stereotype.
I feel like to me in Africa, I feel the number one sport to get into right now is soccer. Because like I'm half Nigerian. My father and all his friends, they're like avid soccer. Like that's like their sport. Basketball is now growing in the continent more, yes, but don't get it twisted. Soccer is still the number one baby, right? Basketball will get there, I think, for sure, eventually. Cause I think there's a lot of opportunity there. It will provide jobs, but I just feel that like a lot of like young kids, their number one is soccer and then maybe basketball. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean,
Warren, can I say this before you? Warren played with Pascal Siakam in the Crown League in Toronto. Warren has been on our show saying that Pascal Siakam's skill sets wasn't what it was that it is now, right?
No,
what is it about these African players, Warren, that just they be able to pick up things so quickly and be dominant? Like these stories are like absurd, no?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I think once they're taught how to play, I mean, there's no like you can build a league for like, you can build a league for pros, but if there's no like youth development, if there's no league for them to start young and learn the fundamentals, then you're kind of lacking. Pascal had, at what 16 started playing basketball, you know what I mean? And I think before that he played soccer.
Yeah.
So he learned all the fundamentals late and then just stuck to those. As soon as you can dunk, what do kids want to do all the time? Start dunking. So you don't practice your fundamentals anymore. Pascal was terrible. He had, no foundation. So he started to learn those things. Now, in Europe, there is a lot more African guards. But in terms of like, especially in France, there's a ridiculous amount. But in terms of a generational, because, unfortunately, if you're going to be a guard in the NBA, you got to be a generational talent. Like maybe a third string or second string point guard, okay, but if you're gonna play, then I don't know. Like you got to be a James Harden type of Paul George type of guard. So I know that they have the 6'8" kids over there, but they don't have the body structure. You know what I mean? They don't have any of the fundamentals that all these other guys have.
Bo's game right now, African body type, super skill set, leaping ability, athleticism, handles not bad, Warren. Shots get in there. I thought he deserved more playing time in that series. Just my opinion, no?
But on the other end,
obviously Michael Porter is gonna, Michael Porter's always complaining.
Okay, yeah, but like, Michael Porter's ability to get up and down the floor better than his is why he played. You know what I mean? There's so many more intangibles other than his length, because length is only a part of the game. You have a 7'5" guy. What position is he gonna play? And not only that, how does he help your offense? Like, he doesn't make Jokic better. So it's difficult for them to say, okay, you know what? Yeah, this guy's tall, like, let's play him there. But Faheem, I agree with you. There is that. I think that league is going to stop it's going to stop the export of talent, for one, so that African players don't have to go anywhere else. They can just stay where they are. Exactly. You know what I mean? Stay in, home, develop themselves, and then go to the NBA or then go to Europe. They don't have to leave anymore. And I think that's more important than anything else. I mean, I know for me, playing basketball, having, my family around was, like a big deal. So I can't imagine for them other guys who don't have to come to America, you know what I mean, or Europe at age 13 with nothing, you know what I mean, and then try and fit in here. You know, they can stay home in their homeland and play basketball, which is amazing.
Right.
That's dope. And I think also the biggest thing they mentioned was that, like Masai Ujiri was saying, the amount of job opportunities, the amount of like, just schooling, training camps. Adam Silver was saying when he's been there 4 times now because they had, a couple of games there throughout the couple of years. And he was saying that there's a lot of potential for us to grow the sport, but also grow the talent. Like you mentioned, training at a young age, because those kids don't know about basketball because there's no one to coach them on it.
No one beats them. They don't even have a court.
Yeah,
they don't have a court, right?
So courts, they need built, right? So I think that the opportunities, I think Chris Tucker is also involved. Obama was involved. I mean, a lot of the African advocates in America were involved. And I think it's great because I really believe that we need to really build our own. Like, I'm hoping to have like a Euro type league for soccer in Africa too. Like, cause in Europe, in our previous episode, he mentioned about how a lot of the fans in Italy are very racist and how they talk to these athletes on the field. So it's giving these guys a place to play at home and really create wealth within their own community and not have to go to Europe and make them a lot of money. But hey, why not create wealth within our own continent? So I think it's a great way to really pour into the continent and to nations as well, for sure.
Yeah.
And mentorship is important too. Like you talk about the value of seeing brothers that look like you come from your city and go on and do great things. For me, that's what it was. Like I grew up on a street that had Anson Carter and Courtney Charles. So I grew up around brothers that were doing great things. So it's like I had no choice but to try to do better. You know what I mean? So you got to see people that come from your block do great things. You're like, you know what? They came from here. I could do it too. So
yeah.
All right. One last thing. If you haven't got a chance, any listeners haven't got a chance to check it out, it's the BA. Just type in Google BAL basketball, and it'll pop up. Actually, I like the logo. Actually,
looks like Kobe.
Yo.
Yeah. It's kind of slick the way they have the yellow, red, green. Like it looks like kind of like a Zulu shield, kind of with the color. It's
not like
kind of slick.
Oh, I hope everyone walks like this will find it forever, like on the court and stuff.
All right, so let's go to That's Absurd.
That's absurd. Faheem, what was absurd this week? What was absurd, brother?
Let's talk a little bit of Kyrie right now.
Oh God.
Good topic.
First, Kyrie made a comment on coaching, saying that on any given night, it could be he's a coach or KD could be the coach, which obviously is not what you want to say when you just hired your coach 2 weeks ago.
Signed him a deal, bro. Just signed him.
Completely absurd. Nelly J.
So first of all, Kyrie, thank you for helping the WNBA players that needed money during COVID. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Now, Kyrie, what the F is your problem, bro? Like, what is the issue? No, I'm curious to know, Kyrie, because you speak out of pocket all the time. You left Cleveland to go to Boston because you want your own team. You went to Boston, no one liked you. Then you left. Now you're in Brooklyn now, and you're talking mad talk, like mad talk. Steve Nash was a player, and now he's a coach. He's hired. He's your coach now. So for you to say that, oh, well, I'm a coach, like, no, you're not a coach. You were hired to play the game of basketball. So the fact that, like, you're being, for me as Nash, I would be very worried. It's like, so, like, I just got hired, and like, you're not even paying me any, like, oh, thanks. We're excited to work with Nash. Like, nothing like that. Is more like, I can be a coach. So can KD. We can all be coaches. We can all coach. Like, coaching is not an easy job. Like, coaching is actually quite hard. So you're kind of being very rude, disrespectful, but also you're being absurd because Kyrie, you want to ring with LeBron, and that's been it. That's been your highlight. So stop acting like you're this, superstar winning rings on every other team. You're not. Sorry. Go ahead, Andrew.
Kyrie Irving, amazing talent. Some would say the best handles in NBA history.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think he's just bored at home, maybe had too many mushrooms or something. You know, people, you know, put microphones in your face and you just want to talk crazy all the time. You know, and I will say this. LeBron had said something in regards to that situation about Kyrie's being jealous, you know, not being jealous of each other. And I was looking back at those old Kobe versus Kyrie in the USA, you know what I mean, where Kyrie was so brazen and disrespectful to Kobe, saying he'd lock him up and just kind of talking out of his butt. Now, Warren, I'm sure you can attest to this. Everyone feels like they're the man when they're on the court. Everyone feels that their opinion is important. But, you know, him just talking out of his butt about, you know, being a coach, him talking out his butt about saying that, you know, it just seems there's been a pattern. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Warren, that's your man's, right?
Not really. But I will say that Kyrie, I think people are starting to see, you know, Kyrie's ego a lot. You know, I mean, that statement for him to say about Nash, I mean, it's like Nash is already in a tough position. They're going to be on TV every night. You know what I mean? Like, you got KD and Kyrie on that team, and it's your first year as a head coach. So right then and there, you know, they're already off to a bad start. Nash now needs to come in there and set the tone in terms of it being his team and, you know, him being a coach, you know, like him being taken seriously as a coach. So right then and there, Kyrie is already making it, you know, publicly known that Nash is not really suitable for the job. So, you know, that in itself is whack. And then two, you know, as much as you got to give, you know, Kyrie his respect for, you know, being able to play basketball at the level that he does, at the same time, Kyrie just needs to watch his mouth now, because he's just talking himself into not being liked. You know, like people are not going to like him because of how much he says outside of basketball. Now, I know he says, you know, like it's, you know, like it's just a game, blah, blah, blah. Fine. But, you know, you also need to learn how to speak in front of cameras, and knowing that people are going to take every word that you say and try and twist it, you know what I mean, and try and run with it. So Kyrie's always playing into their hand, and it's like, now I'm like, okay, Kyrie, you're just making us look bad. I don't even like you anymore, bro. Like, you're literally just saying a bunch of nonsense that is not helping your case. So, I mean, you're right, guys. That's absurd. Like, it is. Everything he said this week was absurd. I mean, him taking shots at LeBron, like LeBron in the finals.
But then he said,
you're at home. You're at home, Kyrie.
They get to LeBron.
Even if it's true, you're at home. You're not playing.
Right.
LeBron's in the finals. You're not.
You're not. You know, like, say that when you're, you know, there in the finals. You can talk all you want to when you're there. You're not there.
Can we talk about Steve Nash not being the person they should have hired for that job in Brooklyn?
Really? You think it wouldn't be a good job?
Listen, guys. Listen, I love Canada, guys. You know, I wore my Canadian, you know, hoodie today specifically for this. I love Canada just like everyone else. I respect Steve Nash for his contributions, back-to-back MVP. I don't know about that one, guys, but he's a player with a vast on-court performance. Sometimes those players don't transfer into being the best, you know, coaches. We've seen that before. Magic Johnson, great player, horrible coach. Isaiah Thomas, great player, horrible coach, horrible in organizations. You know what I mean?
Well, I love going to be good for sure. I don't know why they even hired him in the first place.
Andrew, I'll throw this to you then. If not Steve Nash, then who?
Then who? Yeah, let me know too. I want to know.
We you know, my guy Stephen A. Smith had was, you know, blowing smoke.
My guy Stephen A. Smith. Oh, that ends right there.
I don't like.
Next, ask Warren.
I say that jokingly. I don't like Stephen A. either. I met him and he was a very snooty towards me. But Tyronn Lue, guys, Tyronn Lue has been an assistant coach forever.
Yeah.
Sam Cassell. Right. Assistant coach forever on that Milwaukee team, on that Clippers bench. Let's be honest here, guys. Mark Jackson is spitting gems from the broadcast booth. His job was taken from him and given to another unqualified white man.
Okay, so
know what's going on
No,
here,
no,
guys,
Steve-
but we gotta
Steve
do
Kerr was
better.
a GM. Steve Kerr was a GM. Steve Nash Steve Nash has not even called a timeout in his life. So it's a little different, a little bit different, a little different. Steve Kerr had a little bit of experience.
Yeah.
Steve Nash, 46
Nash
years
worked with Golden
old.
State, though. Remember, Steve Nash worked with Golden State in the past.
As a player coach, though, but not
player
as a coach.
Yes, player coach.
Yeah.
But
Jamal McGlure is not the same type of player coaches, guys. Very no disrespect to Big Cat. Sorry, Big Cat. I should have said that. But like, let's be honest here.
I really feel that I assumed that when they hired Steve Nash, that they spoke with KD and Kyrie, who are the superstars, around the hiring. It kind of seems like they did not do that, because the way they're talking is kind of like whatever. They even shouted out the assistant coach for Brooklyn and not Steve Nash. So it's kind of like, weren't they not involved? So Brooklyn, like, why didn't you involve your superstars? Because typically, like LeBron, you wouldn't hire a coach without LeBron having a say in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, typically you ask your top players. So I assume they asked KD and Kyrie for their blessing,
right,
finding him. That's what I thought. But the way they were talking was like, I could be a coach, so can KD, so can Kevin Durant. It's like, what? Nash is there.
That's an inside job in Brooklyn there, guys. That's Sean Marks hiring his buddy. It's the Canada connection, Toronto connection. It's these guys that know each other. So you know what? Let me put my boy in a position to get some money and opportunity. And Nash is like, hey, why not? Why would you not want to coach this team of players that you played with or know personally?
Yeah.
But I just think it's another setup, guys. Like, it's not going to work out in your favor. These guys that think you could just, throw together these super teams, put these. You saw what happens in Los Angeles and with the Clippers. It doesn't work, guys. It takes a lot more to that.
No, it's true. To the Kyrie point that someone made, I just want to address with leadership. So the difference between LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. LeBron, when he had Tyronn Lue had no head coach experience. But LeBron, as much as we know that LeBron runs the show, LeBron would never go to the media and downplay Tyronn Lue's ability to lead him, even though we know he wasn't. But he stood, and that's what keeps Tyronn Lue having the championship. And when now he has market value because people associate, oh, he coached LeBron James. Kyrie, in other words, what he did now, he undermined Steve Nash. So now Steve Nash coming in the back of everyone's mind is going to be the fact that Kyrie's outed with their play. Like, he's not really our coach. He's just there. You know what I'm saying? So he undermined his coach. And now I know Steve Nash signed for 5 years, but during this 5 years, it's one of those things where when he leaves Brooklyn or whatever happens, it's always going to be hanging over his head as, was he really coaching KD? Like, it takes away from his credibility. That's all.
Yeah.
Last point about this in regards to Kyrie is what he said about LeBron James. His subliminal, actually, my bad. I shouldn't say what he said about LeBron, but what he said
indirectly.
That could be
indirectly.
It's associated to be with LeBron. So let me see here.
I have it. Yeah, he said, I felt like I was the best option on every team I've played for down the stretch. This is the first time in my career where I can be like, that mother effer can make that shot too. And quotation marks.
Disrespectful.
Yes.
Warren has made jokes before about me being a LeBron stan. He's called me a LeBron sexual. You know what I mean? He likes to make jokes, saying that I'm one of, whatever. I say I'm one of the Kingsmen.
Kingsmen.
What I mean? I'm one of the Kingsmen. I'm one of, you know what I mean? And
yes.
With that being said, for Kyrie to say such disrespectful talks to a man that carried him, let's be honest here. That's Warren. I know you're shaking your head. You're looking at that 140-point game where they went 40 for 40. Warren, that's one game. Warren, let's talk about LeBlanc, Warren. Let's talk about all those other situations.
Okay, I understand that, but Andrew, don't just say carry though. You use that term lightly.
I will say this.
He led.
LeBron James won Finals MVP. You know what comes with that Finals MVP? That means you're the top dog. It means you were the chief. You were the glue to that championship trophy. So for him to negate the fact that LeBron was the man of that team. Disrespectful. And I hope LeBron sees him and said, brother, what is you talking about?
And also,
But knowing
remind
Kyrie,
guys that LeBron made it to the final without Kyrie. When he was injured, LeBron made it without Kyrie. But guess what? If LeBron was on that team with Kyrie alone, they wouldn't have made it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying LeBron carried the team but he is the major reason why they made it there. Kyrie, of course, is a great handler, is great skill set, but LeBron made it there with or without him. So I just feel like Kyrie, in his mind, he is the reason why they won. I get it. Like, he has an ego, understandable. You're an athlete, whatever. But I just feel like Kyrie has not shown LeBron respect that he should have in the past. Like, he's always giving LeBron shots. It's like he's so bitter that he left Cleveland. Like, bro, you left first. LeBron was there and you left. So why are you still bitter about this entire LeBron situation? It's kind of petty and it's kind of annoying, to be honest.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to say it's one of those things where locker room chemistry, and Warren and I talk about it all the time, and I guess it's part of why we called our show Locker Room Talk. That locker room chemistry is so essential to winning, and it's often undervalued because not everyone can shoot the shot. You know what I mean? You're definitely going to need someone else to play their position, and being able to, play your position is you can't do it alone. And LeBron knows that. LeBron's the ultimate team player. And for Kyrie to say that to LeBron, I know that cuts LeBron so deep, it's disrespectful.
See, Kyrie, he's a B-side player who made an A-side comment. So come again?
Ooh, preach up.
Come again?
Kyrie's not in that position. Kyrie doesn't know what it's like to do heavy lifting, right? So LeBron is doing the heavy lifting, and here's the thing. So let's walk with Kyrie for a moment. Let's say that Kyrie is more equipped to take that last second shot. Let's entertain that. Fine, right? It's a lot more to winning a championship than being able to hit that last second shot. So for Kyrie to actually say that, he's completely out of pocket, because that's the kind of comment I would expect an A-list guy to say, to look to his right, to his Robin, and say, hey, you know what, at least, because that's your main job to do, hit those shots. So I just think Kyrie, he's never been an A-list player or an A-side player to say, hey, you know what, he's the A and my B, my number 2 option. You never had that situation. Even in the situation now in Brooklyn, he's still not the A-list
player. It's KD.
So he's Kyrie B Irving. You know what I'm saying? He's B. You know what I'm saying? So it's LeBron has he better forget words. LeBron he better handle the situation. Warren, I'll let you go out with this. Go ahead.
Okay. I think people need to be careful when they talk about LeBron, because Andrew's face is already killing me. The only thing I don't like about maybe LeBron's fans is just the fact that they often disrespect his teammates, and in terms of saying how much LeBron has to lift and his stats and stuff. I don't know a guy who can get 8 or 9 assists with bad teammates. So how are you getting a triple-double every game if your teammates are so shit? So I think Kyrie was saying at that time that they played together, LeBron never really took those clutch shots. And that's just a fact. Maybe now later on in his career,
he had Kyrie, he had, you know what I mean?
Right. He didn't really do that. So I think that's what Kyrie was saying. What I will say though, to I guess LeBron's credit, is that Kyrie is still, for whatever reason, taking shots at him. And I don't care if he meant that, you know what I mean, towards LeBron. You just got to have some class when you do it. If you're at the top of the mountain, then you can say whatever you want to say. But when you're not even playing, when you haven't played all season long, you haven't done shit your damn self, I wouldn't be saying those kind of comments about a guy who has consistently, literally consistently been to the same place every single time. LeBron has been in the finals for this whole decade, which is incredible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you have to tip your hat to that. As much as I may have my own personal quarrels, you gotta tip your hat to that, because that's incredible for any athlete. We're probably never gonna see that again in our, in our lifetime. So for Kyrie to be doing that now doesn't really sit well with me, as a basketball fan personally. It's just respect where this guy is right now. This is his time. If anything, you should just be saying, I'm looking forward to playing with Kevin Durant. I'm not gonna take shots at LeBron and talk about his game-winning shot, because We don't even know if Kevin Durant's going to make it through, a full season.
Hello,
We don't even know that yet.
You don't know.
So we don't know, you don't know, like, look, KD is coming off of a very serious injury. It's not a joke tearing your Achilles, especially when you want to go play basketball again. So I like that part of it I didn't like, but at the same time, I think Kyrie just needs to just now watch what he says the rest of the year. He just needs to do that, man.
But what do you know? I feel like Kyrie always speaks out of pocket. Like that's just who he is.
Does.
Yeah.
He just needs to be humble. He needs to be humble.
I think he said, "Oh, guys, they're putting us against each other again." It's like, no, Kyrie, you said those comments,
right.
And now look at something, right? Like, talk your shit, but own up to it. Be accountable for it. Like Kyrie's not doing that. He's not saying, you know what? I can see why you guys would think that way, but I forgot about like at least own up to it. Don't say, man, y'all being extra. I didn't say it like that. Yes, you did. The quotes are out there, bro.
Yeah.
But he said stay woke. Come on, Kyrie. Come on.
Kyrie gave people the option to interpret his words any which way they wanted to.
Right.
And especially in today's day and age, you need to say exactly what you mean, because whatever it is that, it comes out of your mouth today, especially online at that level, you're good. It's going to be scrutinized 100%. You could say anything. You could say daisies are red and people will lose their minds. So that's
they're not.
exactly. So
just one last thing in regards to this. There's also motive for why Kyrie would have said this. Him and KD have a podcast. Have you heard of that? It's called The Execs.
Yes.
Nah.
It's on his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's something like this, which is open-ended, open for interpretation on your podcast. It's going to just drive people to your podcast, So I think there's motive for him to say, hey, this is our opening episode. Why not say something
some crazy shit?
and get a whole lot of viewers.
It's going to work. Yeah, it's going to work.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not mad at that then. That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense, man. I mean,
are you saying you're okay with him being cloudy? That's cloudy.
No, I'm not okay with it, but I understand the business move behind it. I mean, if you have an opening podcast,
I think KD's bitter that they lost to Raptors last year. I think Kyrie's bitter because he hasn't won anything since LeBron.
Well, KD didn't play, so I don't think
I
KD's
know, but
bitter.
Yes, but KD's haven't talked about the Raptors like, if I play, like. He's been talking that shit the last year.
I mean, I think if KD played, that series would have been a whole lot different.
Warren, stop this, bro.
Warren, stop.
All right.
Yeah. I ain't say they're gonna win.
I would say it would be harder, but no.
Yeah, it'd be different.
Hawaii, no.
Can I say one thing though, guys? I want to shout out Nelly for being amazing. One, because I've been like watching her career as like this personality. Amazing. And I knew she had the sauce. I knew she had talent. I knew she was beautiful. But like the mouth and the combination, everything, definitely a hidden gem in this community. So
nice.
Thank you.
All right. Any other
shout out Faheem too, bro?
Shout
What's
out?
wrong with you? Listen,
shout out
Faheem.
I think we all need to support Black creatives, people of color, and minorities in our spaces. We are all in this together. I hope that we find ways to unify and work together. You guys all have my contact information. Anything you need, please let me know. I can help. We're all in this together. Warren knows that. I tell people this all the time.
I was going to say, can I say my last 15 seconds?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I would like to say special shout out to Mr. Miller. I mean, he's been an instrumental part of my development in this whole year, to be honest. So, bringing me on, to his network, shout out to TV Co, bringing me onto that network, having us do our podcast together. It gave me the confidence to go ahead and do this now. So, regardless of this, I was going to do it anyway, but I just wanted to publicly say, thank you so much for all you do. It goes a long way.
Couple clones since then, eh, Warren?
Sure.
But yeah, no, great show, guys. Love being on it.
Honestly, I want to shout you guys out. Thanks for hopping on, guys. Literally, I was like, Andrew, can you be a guest? And your boy, yeah, sure. I'm great. So I'm happy you guys came on. You guys were excellent, awesome. Hopefully, you guys come on again in the future. I'd like to have you guys return. And I also want to shout out Sue Bird. Sue Bird is now the third player in WNBA and NBA history to win a title in 3 different decades. That's insane. So Sue Bird definitely be a Hall of Famer in the future, but shout out to her and to the Seattle Storm for winning their championship this week.
And Breonna Taylor for winning MVP after coming off a ruptured Achilles, which is incredible. So, you know, tore her Achilles last year, and now she's back playing, you know, wins a chip, all that hard work she put in. So shout out to Breonna Taylor. Wow, Breonna Stewart. Here we go. Breonna Stewart.
I know what you meant.
Sorry, but shout out to Breonna Taylor too, but Breonna Stewart.
No doubt.
Yeah.
My shout's quick. I just want to shout out, it's a random one, Michael Bradley from the TFC. Reason why, me and Nelly J, we did a podcast last week, the Big O podcast with our boy, our pod brother, we'll say, Julian Ortiz. And we had a little conversation about iconic Toronto athletes. And we went through, you know, Raptors, Leafs, Blue Jays, didn't mention anything about the TFC at all. And it's actually a shame because Michael Bradley's somebody who's, since he's been in Toronto like 6 years now, he's been the captain. He's got a ring. Like TFC won the championship, and even in Toronto, we really don't identify with it. We don't respect it, right? Also, he had like a few All-Star appearances also. So like for what he's done, he came from Europe. Michael Bradley came, and he's just been the captain and running the ship for TFC for like last 6 years. He's someone, regardless what happens in the future, we'd have to put him in the conversation as like an iconic Toronto athlete, and he's someone who's got completely slept on. So I just want to at least shout him out, Michael Bradley from the TFC. All right. So let's put this episode in the books.
Episode 8, y'all.
Number 8.
Guys, I want to have our amazing guests' handles and information so y'all can contact them, support their content, support their projects. It's all about, you know, creating our own community within the Black media. Definitely want to shout out all of our viewers, our listeners. You guys it's like we're getting more and more people. I'm getting more comments. So thanks, guys, for really supporting the Good Rookies podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you. Please share, please like, and subscribe.
Locker Room Talk Podcast.
Good Tuesdays.
We'll get something going once the next this season. Asterisks for the championship this year? Yes or no?
No.
Exactly.
Actually,
Pat Beverly talks too much, by the way.
No, much harder to win in those conditions, I think. With the health scare, your family not being around, you can't go home, you got to stay in that bubble. There's no fans, you're not playing, you're literally there for 80 odd days, and these guys been there for months. I think this year, this is the hardest championship to win, for sure.
It's only an asterisk under one condition. If the person who says it's an asterisk didn't watch the NBA at all, they boycotted it. Like, because some people might say, hey, you know what? It's an asterisk. You didn't watch it, then it's an asterisk, of course, like for sure. But you can't say it's an asterisk and watch every series.
Yeah, if you watch the games, it wasn't an asterisk. These games
not at all. They were intense. They were intense.
Finals MVP?
Anthony Davis.
Of course you'd say that, hater.
No, Anthony Davis.
I think it's very close between
I think media is going to give it to him, but I mean, Anthony Davis is the one who's, you know, Anthony Davis is guarding Jimmy Butler. What else more do you want? What else more?
Has been very aggressive. His numbers.
He's the best offensive player there, and he's the best defensive player there.
Yeah.
He plays the majority of the minutes.
Episode Davis. Guys. We out.
Stay tuned. Peace.